Members of AmaZulu royal family and the nation are anxiously waiting for a crucial court judgment on the fate of the throne. For 3 days, Judge Norman Davis of the High Court in Pretoria listened to submissions and arguments of all parties involved in the matter between Prince Siphamandla Goge versus President and 7 others. The Prince is challenging President Cyril Ramaphosa's decision to recognize his brother, King Misuzulu Kazwelithini, as the monarch. He claims to be the rightful heir to the throne by virtue of his status as King Zwelithini's firstborn son. His nomination by the royal family and affiliation to the late Queen Manfombi through the custom of ukufaka esiswini. eNCA Siphamandla Goge explained this to us further.
On page 006-94.
A deeply divided AmaZulu royal family relying on the courts to settle a dispute over its powerful and coveted throne. Princess Magade's lawyers are challenging the crucial May 14, 2021 meeting of royal family members that nominated the then Prince Misuzulu as the next monarch. Advocate Alan Donson has argued Princess Magade and other members of the royal family weren't able to attend and participate in the meeting.
And it does have the consequence that the meeting is biased. There is no chance that any competing contender can have a chance the moment that that Prince Misuzulu is introduced as the king.
Respondent number 1, President Cyril Ramaphosa's team, argued that the president relied on the advice of the royal family and Judge Mjabuliseni Madondo of the Pietermaritzburg High Court's judgment on who the rightful heir is.
The president agrees that he was guided by the judgment of Justice Madondo, where it was expressly found that the royal family had in fact identified Prince Misuzulu as the successful king-elect. We submit that there was no appeal against Justice Madondo's judgments and findings on this particular point in the SCA. And we submit that it remains valid.
The King's legal team is adamant the royal family and the president followed all the required processes for the identification and nomination requirements.
Your Lordship uses the word selection. The Act uses the word identify. There's a distinction. The family, the royal family, does not select. The royal family identifies. It is formalistic, we suggest. It's ritualistic. If there is one heir and there is a predetermined, there is a statement in Prince Buthelezzi's affidavit, the one that was signed, which says Zulu kings are born, not elected. And that sums it up.
But Prince Mbonisi's lawyers challenged and dismissed this submission by King Misuzulu's legal team that a king is born, not elected.
Well, would submit that truly is not entirely correct. We have in our heads at length dealt, my lord, with how in the past kings of the AmaZulu nation have been appointed. And they've always been appointed by the elders in the family, who have always been the brothers of the immediate past king, and in some respects were relevant, the sisters. The immediate past, the late King Zwelithini Kapeguzulu was himself appointed by the brothers of the late King Peguzulu, and therefore it should follow that since that is the custom, that is what has always been followed from days immemorial. The person to assume the position of the king for the AmaZulu nation should be appointed, should be identified in exactly the same way.
Prince Mbonisi, who joined Princess Magade's application in court, seeks a relief that will see a rerun of the process of identification and nomination of a successor.
Our main concern was that we are not recognized as the core members of this royal family, and we're not given the chance to discuss our own affairs amongst ourselves only, and then we can come out and say, this is what we've discussed and agreed upon. Because when you do the verification process identified by our government, in our case, it was not followed. That is why we are saying today we'll be waiting for the outcome of the judge on the day that he has agreed upon, that he will bring the judgment on the day. But we are very excited that this case has been opened, so the world must know that the people, rightful owners of Ubukhosi, it's us, the children of King Bhekuzulu, who's the father of King Zwelithini.
The presiding judge says he understands the magnitude and importance of this case to the entire AmaZulu nation.
And having regard to the interest in the matter and the importance of the matter to the kingdom and the monarchy, the AmaZulu people, and indeed all parties to this litigation, are entitled to a proper consideration of the matter. And this will include a deep and intensive reflection on all the evidence placed before the court, as well as the consideration of the arguments presented, both written, for which I thank the practitioners, and oral, for which I thank those practitioners who presented the oral argument. And the result of that is then that judgment will be reserved until a later date.
Princess Magade's supporters say they are hopeful for a positive outcome.
Sikuthokozela kakhulu futhi siyazethemba ukuthi inkantolo izosifuna ngoba konke esikwenzileyo kuqondile sindlunkulu.
Those supporting King Misuzulu say there was no need for any litigation challenging his recognition because by birthright he is the king.
Asikhumbuli noma abantwana bechaza abadala bathi akukaze kube khona lapho khona umntwana oSimakade efakwa khona esiswini, kusho ukuthi lelo siko alikaze luze libe khona futhi lwalungeke luze libe khona ngoba phela indlovukazi yayinabo abantwana izele, kusho ukuthi ngamanye amazwi umntwana ukhuluma nje ngodaba mhlamba ayefisile ukuthi ngabe kuhamba kanjalo, kodwa iqinise liphelela akukaze kuze libe khona lolo daba.
As the judge reflects on the submissions and arguments in drafting his judgment, the nation waits patiently. Siphamandla Goge, Pretoria.